Good afternoon and welcome to Mile High Huddle. We're going to be interviewing a Hall of Fame player, a Denver Broncos and Dallas Cowboys legend, among other things, DeMarcus Ware. Welcome. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me. It's a great honor to have the privilege to talk with you today. Thank you.
I'm really glad that you invited me on, and it's so cool to be invited onto a show where it says the Legends of Mile High podcast. So that lets me know that I am a legend in Mile High.
You
And man, that feels really good. That feels good. That feels really good.
Yeah, you are a legend. I mean, I could talk to you all day about, how your playing days and all of that. And I know we have a short amount of time here, but you're definitely a legend in Denver Broncos. You're definitely a legend with the Dallas Cowboys as well. But before we dive in, I know I'm going to want to talk a lot about Broncos. So
Mhm.
before we dive in, there's an event that you're holding, a bowling classic. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about that?
So I'm hosting a bowling classic, right? You know, I'm probably the biggest competitor that you probably will ever see. Super Bowl 50. Just going to throw that out there. But I'm hosting a bowling classic, and it's sponsored by Pepsi, and it's on February the 9th at noon local time in Vegas. And I'm just telling all the fans to come out and meet some of the former players, bowl against some of the former players, but also some of the legends, and also have an opportunity to raise money for impact, for the NFL Foundation. And they can sign up as soon as December the 19th, this Tuesday. It's going to be an amazing bowling event. I feel like it's going to be the best in the land. Not only are all the Broncos fans are going to be there, but we're going to be in Vegas and we're going to have a good time. So I'm just persuading people to go to PepsiBowlingClassic.com. Again, PepsiBowlingClassic.com to go and sign up. And let's win this thing one more time for Super Bowl 50.
I tell you, it sounds fun. I'm a terrible bowler, but I'd love to do it anyway. But PepsiBowlingClassic.com, you can sign up next
Yeah,
Tuesday. And yeah, that sounds like a blast, especially in
it is.
Vegas. I mean, bowling in Vegas sounds fun. I'm a big Vegas fan. What do you make of this turnaround that the Broncos have? I mean, it could go down as one of the greatest turnarounds in NFL history, really, from 1-5 if they make the playoffs. What do you make of it?
It's what we've been waiting for. It's what Broncos country has been needing after Super Bowl 50. Everything has just been up and down. I mean, I'm the biggest fan ever. I mean, I tailgate, I do all those things. I watch every single game, know every single player. But when you see a new coach come in, you have general manager changes, people think that, oh my God, I mean, how long is it going to take for us to really get that team back? And now you see in the last 3 or 4 games, with all those changes, everything is coming together.
Yeah.
And it's one of the coolest things to see because we still have an opportunity. They did it early enough to where we have an opportunity, probably get into the playoffs some type of way. Yeah, it didn't start off like we wanted it to, but teams peak as it gets closer to the postseason. That's what the Denver Broncos is doing right now. So hopefully we keep, doing this, and it's been a phenomenal change and it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's fun for Broncos fans. Finally, I mean, it's finally been fun to
Yeah.
be relevant in December right now. So I'm enjoying it as well. But as a player in a locker room, as you've been for a long time, what is it? What do you have to do to mentally or whatever to make that kind of turnaround when you're facing all that adversity, 1-5 or whatever it may be? What are some of the things that players can do, or what's the overall kind of theme that happens to get that moving in a different direction?
What happens is the leaders start becoming better leaders in communicating with the team because there's usually one guy on defense, one guy on offense, and everybody leans on them to say, what do we need to do? And finally, those guys are stepping up to the plate, one of them being Russell Wilson, also the head coach, Sean Payton. Everybody has bought into, we call it the sauce. Have you bought into the sauce yet? And they have done that. And that theme is you create that motto at the beginning of the season. Do you believe it? And through all the good and bad times, can we play well? And that's what we're starting to see. And everybody's bought into it. And now I know that since everybody has done that, you got the team, you have the nucleus. Now they just got to go out and play like they've been playing the last 4 games and see what happens.
And speaking of believing, do you think that as they, even though some of those wins that they've had, this 5-game winning streaks, 6 of the last 7, they had a couple close ones, the 12th man kind of lucky win there. But do you believe that, or do you think that as they start to stack up these wins, that belief that they can win all the time grows, and that momentum? Do you believe in the momentum that people talk about all the time, but some say doesn't exist? Do you think that really happens?
Momentum is huge. And one thing that you said was the 12th man. The Denver Broncos fans, they are the most trustworthy. They come to every single game. If you're home or away, it doesn't matter if it's 12 degrees outside, they are there supporting their team, right? So that 12th man is there. Now the momentum comes when now the L's start becoming W's, right? That's what's happened. And now everybody is on that gravy train. The only way you keep that gravy train coming is you got to have the 12th man and that momentum that's going to be pushing you to where you need to go. Yeah, you'll have wins and losses throughout that, but you got to keep that fire hot. And if they can do that, man, I'm just excited. Like you said, 6 of the 7 games and 4 to 6 games or whatever that you just said. I just want to see them keep winning, so they keep saying Denver Broncos. Oh my God, did you see what the Denver Broncos just did this week? And now let them start saying the Denver Broncos in the postseason and let them make a playoff. Playoff games are 1-1. That's it, 50-50. So if you win those and just keep stacking them up, you never know what can happen.
Well, and speaking of the playoffs, are you on board? Do you think this team is going to the playoffs? And do you think that they'll make a deep run in the playoffs? It was unfathomable, 6, 7 weeks ago.
They can make it to the playoffs. I don't know how deep in the playoffs. The reason why I say that, because as you get deeper in the playoffs, that's when depth come into play. Do they have enough depth at certain positions to keep their energy levels high enough to win those big games? Right now we're seeing that, but they're not winning them. To me, you can't win them by 1 point. I just need to go beat teams. So now we have that confidence where, yeah, we just scored 14. We win it by 14. We win it by 21. We just won by 35 points. We put the pedal to the metal. When you start seeing those games, that's when you get deeper in the playoffs. The way that they're playing right now, they can get into the playoffs, but I just don't know how far they're going to go.
Yeah, and health plays a lot into that. They're very healthy for the first time in a long time that we've seen that. So as you see these other teams start to lose players, I know it's terrible to see that happen, but as the Broncos stay healthy, how important is that?
Having a full team is usually the most important thing when you're going into the playoffs, because usually your left tackle gets hurt, your quarterback, your inside linebacker, somebody that's like, I need him to be that piece to get me through the Super Bowl. And the Denver Broncos have all of that because they've been playing so battle hardened that they can work through anything right now, and their players are solid. They're ready for it. Now, mentally, they just got to say, we can do this. We actually can do this. Let's erase all the seasons that came before us, and let's just worry about these first 24 hours that we have, and how can we win this game this week.
I'm excited for it. You're getting me excited. You're getting me excited to go bowling even. So yeah. I'm ready. I know you got to get going here pretty quick. I have one last question for you. It's not really necessarily football related, but you won a Super Bowl, made it to the Hall of Fame. I mean, 2 greatest honors that I think football players can have. But what's next? What are you striving for next for the future? Are you thinking about front office, coaching, anything related to football, or completely out of football, going bowling?
I think everything totally outside of football. Football has given me the platform to create impact. And so that's why, I do these things like this bowling classic with Pepsi, because I know that once everybody signs up, when they go to PepsiBowlingClassic.com, that money is going to be used to used for something that's going to help the community. And usually people get me involved because I will bring the party. We're going to have a good time, but we're also going to create impact. And that's the coolest things when you're working with companies that's what they do. And being part of this is just amazing. So that's what I enjoy doing is serving, meeting the fans, getting back with the Broncos fans and all the other fans that are going to be there, and enjoying ourselves, but also knowing that we're doing something really good that's going to change lives.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's the Pepsi Bowling Classic, PepsiBowlingClassic.com. Don't forget to go sign up next Tuesday, correct? It'll open
Yes.
up to sign up. It sounds like a blast. I hope I can make it. Again, this is DeMarcus Ware. If you don't know who he is, I don't know how you couldn't. Pro Football Hall of Famer, one of the greatest pass rushers of all time. Thank you so much for joining the show and letting me ask you the questions and chat with me. So thank you so much.
And as TD says, here's a mile high salute.